giving her the translation of the speech of the ambassador, we gave her my presentation, which was then read to the audience. And I don't have a copy because I don't know where she put it. And I don't know if I should read a story which have already been told. That all what I have for the moment. Maybe those who didn't hear it could be interested to hear from it again. Honorable dignitaries, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, as is usually said in South Africa. The G20 2025, the first ever on African soil, held honorably under the South African presidency, closed its chapter a few days ago. With the current growing focus on the global south, this event was set to offer several key benefits to the African continent. It was an overall strategic opportunity to amplify the African agenda in global governance with a collective voice and unified representation. The South African presidency and the establishment of the G20 Africa expert panel was meant to demonstrate the power of a coordinated effort to place African development priority like debt, climate, finance, and industrialization at the heart of the global economic discussions. The theme focused on solidarity, equality, sustainability put a spotlight on the need for both nations and domestic economy to ensure fair treatment, equal opportunities, and reduce inequality for a more stable and sustainable world. It provided a strategic leverage point for Africa to transition from a continent primarily seeking assistance to a powerful agenda-shaping global partner, provided it can align its effort on key areas like governance, industrialization, systemic financial reform, but also, and maybe this is a point which is considered to be lighter. Sorry for that. The need for the African continent to actively reclaim, redefine, and tell the story of Africa from our own African perspective. South Africa presidency strategically steered the global conversation by elevating core African priority into the G20 agenda. One, on the reform of global financial architecture, the narrative shift focus on presenting Africa not as a recipient of aid, but as a region demanding structural reform of the international financial system to ensure equity and sustainability. Second, on the climate justice and just transition, the G20 provided a platform to challenge the narrative that climate action is purely a Northern-led endeavor that hinders African development. On the digital sovereignty and AI governance, the South African presidency actively inserted the narrative that Africa must be creator and governor, not just a consumer of a resource base in the digital revolution. The fourth point, which was important to me on the front of the African cultural sovereignty, South Africa deliberately introduced the African philosophy of Ubuntu, Chimuntu as it is said in the Republic of Congo, often translated as I am because we are. This was fairly and strategically introduced into the G20 discourse. The summit highlighted the importance of creative industry, art, media, narrative, and storytelling to attract investment and project a positive, diversified image of the continent globally. This noble action acted as a powerful counter-narrative to geopolitical fragmentation and economic individualism, emphasizing multilateral cooperation, interconnectedness, and collective action to address shared global challenges. The role of the African Union as a permanent member, secured in 2023, coupled with the South African presidency, created a powerful duo for the narrative sovereignty. Sorry, I'm almost done before you fall asleep. The D20 2025 served as a landmark moment, turning the global spotlight into a strategic tool to reauthor the African story on the world stage. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this is how South Africa and President Cyril Ramaphosa managed to avoid the hijacking of Africa historical narrative of the first G20 by a particular president of a particular country. I guess you know who I'm talking about. Today, the Tropics Business Summit gives to the continent another opportunity to take control of its economic, entrepreneurial, and developmental storytelling. Thanks to Venetia and to the Tropics Global family, this prestigious event reaches its 9th edition. 9th edition of a visionary project which has traveled physically and virtually to most of the continent. A project which is at the door of its 10th edition next year. This will be a good opportunity, as the ambassador of Gabon has committed, to provide more financial and technical support to the Tropics Group. From you, from other stakeholders, corporate particularly, the Tropics Business Summit and Country Showcase need your support to move to its next level of evolution. I just hope that those commitments that you have been made will be implemented. And on that note, I thank you for your attention.